all, I'm Jeanette Keynes from Jewelry Arts Inc. This video is my Roman Planished Chain earrings, part 6 out of Apricot Gold. I'm going to show you how to weave those links together. It can be a little confusing because you basically have to weave each link through the last link and then solder them to each other, and then you weave through and solder them to each other, but I'm going to show you how we do it. So I want to show you what I've done so far. I've got my adorable little curtain rod. I've soldered my jump ring on top. I squeezed together my jump rings, and I also soldered on my adorable little bezels, which will be spinels eventually and very beautiful. It's all crusted over in ochre and looks disgusting because this is all very tight soldering. It's very hard to go to the next seam and not reflow something. So even though I don't like to work dirty, or so I tell you, in this case, it's really a necessity. Everything's just too close to just keep going and not ochre everything. So it's a filthy, disgusting looking mess, but it will be fine. So to do the next row, basically you have to weave the links through from the back. But in order to be able to fit them through, what you have to do is this. You see how I've kind of bent that up? And I'm gonna show you how I do one with the pliers. You have to take it and kind of distort it, that didn't come out right, and distort it to a bit of a curve so that it will fit through the other link. You know, it's not so easy to get it through there because they're basically the same size. Okay, so how I do that is I use these sort of, I think I just threw a link, but we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. These are not my favorite pliers. They're big and clunky and gross, and I'm still searching for the ideal one, but it is covered with these nice soft jaws, so I don't want to put a bunch of marks on my links. So this is what I do. Take my link and I grab one side. Hold on. Operator error. You see what I mean? Like that. And then I push up on the other side. You see what I mean? It makes a cute little curve. And basically you're just making it small enough that when I feed it through the back like this, because that's how it has to go in. I might have to squeeze this one a little bit more, but usually you can and go through just like that. Because that's how this chain works. I know this looks filthy and gross, but that when I go to solder the next row together, I'm going to thread one through, thread the second one, thread the third one through, and then solder in between. Like I've got this one, my other earring, all set up with the 3 that I curved and squished through there. And then I'm going to do 2 at a time. I've got a little flux there. I'll put a little piece of solder and I'll solder them shut. And once I solder them together, then I'll squeeze the links back together. And that's basically how this whole chain works. Each row, you thread 3 through, solder in between them, close them up. Now the top rows, I put the bezels on there, right, for the spinels, but I'm not doing that all the way down. Those cute little rosettes that I was doing earlier, which I'll do a close-up of those, are going in between. And when I do that, I'll show you, but I just wanted to show you how this comes along. So I'm getting ready to solder these 2 together, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a fucking pain in the ass. It's very persnickety because you heat it, the flux moves, the links move a little bit, you have to move them back in position. So do it when you're feeling calm and plan on maybe getting super drunk afterward. I'm gonna let Alexis do a little close-up because normally what I do, I put a tiny little dab of flux, I dry it a little bit, and you see how I have that square there? It's just like when we did the front ones. You know, you want a big enough piece that it's relatively easily touching both sides of the link. Because if we're lucky and the soldering gods are with us, it'll just, sort of flow in between and attach them. All right, so let's give it a shot. Okay. Gently dry. Always have my tweezers in my hand so that I can poke things if I need to. And by the way, you notice I set up 2 at a time. To set up all 3 at a time and try to solder them is madness. Don't do it. As much as I like to live dangerously, Don't do it. Do that, it settles down. You see that? So you have the connection in between. Then I'm gonna set up the third one, do the same thing, and I'll show you closing them and whatever, but basically that's how this is done. It's a little persnickety, but it really does make a gorgeous chain. So I've set up the third naughty little link, and you see how I've got it lined up right next to the other one, and I've got a cute little piece of solder there. So I'm going to lovingly melt it, and just remember, these links like to move around. They're a little persnickety, so just... Although swearing is my normal method of releasing stress. I'm gonna dry gently. So you see how I'm drying the flux very slowly because I'm hoping that it will just lay there and behave itself. And once it is laying there and behaving itself, then I kind of just go in for the kill. Look at that. And the crowd goes wild. Basically, then I let it cool, squish them together, line them all back up, and then I guess in a later moment, I'll show you how I put the little rosettes on.